I think someone I love. Um, I was very fearful when my mom died, and like what life was going to be for her after life. But since then, I've done a lot of thought-provoking things in my life that have made me less fearful of that. But I am still fearful of like somebody young in my life dying before they're able to do everything that they want to do in life. I am neutral to it. Um, I've always said that I wanted to live to be 120 with as long as I had a good quality of life, because I have a lot of things that I want to do yet. But if it comes before then, I am okay. And I've told my husband, I'm like, throw my ashes in the trash or whatever, because that's not me anymore. Right? So I know that I've gone to another dimension, and I'm still going to be present, just in a different way. I feel like it's a dimension that is parallel to ours and overlapping ours. And you stay in that dimension for quite a while to help other people, or help people that are alive actually get through their mourning process. And then you may choose to move on at that point. And by moving on, I'm talking about, I'm not quite sure what is after that, but it could be choosing to be reborn or something like that. I possibly. I don't know. I've had a couple of blackouts that they think might be seizures, so I'm not quite sure how close to death, but I was definitely in a different place.
What was that like?
It wasn't scary to me, although I don't know what I was doing while I was blacked out because I was still functioning. It wasn't scary. I just would like to know what causes it. I feel like I hope that they know that I represent the love of all things living and, of this earth, so that they will, maybe that will help them learn to be tolerant of all sorts of things. My birth spirit animal is a bear, and most people know that that's me. When I was young, I was very fearful of death, but I think that was because, pardon me, but I was going to church at the time, and it was, they make it a scary thing. But as I started following the shamanic path, I realized that it's a natural thing. And, like I have done a lot in my life, although there are some things that I still want to do. But I've done a lot in my life, and I really, I'm okay, I think. To be seen, I guess. Hi, Martha. I am no longer on Earth, but I feel like you probably know that we are, in a different dimension, and we can go back to our loved ones and support them and help them through this. My mom and I were always really close. She was probably the only one in my whole life that has ever, besides my son, really understood me. And because I'm not the same as most people. So when she got sick, I had taken care of her for probably 10 years. And when she got sick, I didn't pick up right away. She lived with me, and I didn't pick it up right away that she was in distress because she kept covering over the symptoms and everything. And when I finally found out and got her to the hospital, she had sepsis and she didn't make it. And I blamed myself for 2 years about that. Feeling horrible that I didn't, she trusted me with her life and I didn't help her through on that. And I felt bad about it for 2 years and blamed myself until my uncle called me. My uncle, who was like in his mid-80s or something, he called me and he said, "Martha, stop killing yourself over this. She had a great life. She knew that you always did everything that you could for her, and you probably kept her alive 10 years longer than what she would have anyhow without you." So after he called me, I felt, it took a while, but I started feeling much better about it. And she has visited me several times in like amazing ways. So I think she's moved on now. But while in like 6 years, she visited me several times. Well, in the beginning, she always there was always a cell phone involved or whatever. So like the first couple of times she would call me in my dreams and say, "Hey, are you okay?" when something was not okay in my life. And I would tell her about it and she would make me feel better. But so then I was at the sculpture studio where I was working on my welded sculpting one time. And my phone rang. And I picked it up and I looked at it. I was talking to somebody else and I just, got rid of the phone call because it said that it was my mom calling. And the person I was talking to was like, "Well, if it was your mom, why didn't you answer it?" And I said, "You don't understand. She's been dead for 2 years." So I was like, okay. And there was no way that I could have accidentally dialed it or anything the way it worked out. So this person called me back again, and I thought, well, I have to answer it. And I told her, I was like, "If I faint, please, get me some help, but this is what will have happened." Mm-hmm. So I go out and I answer the phone call, and it was this man, a young man, and he had gotten my mom's phone number. But how he called me in the first place, or how that happened, I have no idea, unless it was my mom. My mom was always my biggest marketing tool that I could ever have. She loved my artwork and she loved my physical therapy and stuff. So this young man said, "I heard on your voicemail message when you didn't answer the last time that you're a physical therapist, and I got an order from my doctor that said that I needed physical therapy, and I was wondering if I could come to you." And I was like, "Okay, call me back when you're ready to schedule." And I hung up on him. And I never heard from him after that. Wow. But then the very last time she came to visit me, she actually came to visit my dog, and she loved my dog Earl, and he was sick and almost dying. And I was just feeling bad because he didn't have anybody to meet him when he crossed over. And I was like, you know, kind of crying about that one night. And I was sitting there with him and petting him. And my mom walked into my bedroom and sat on the end of the bed. She used to do that when I was much younger. And she asked me how my day was and everything. And then she put her hand on Earl's paw and she said, I will be there when you cross over. And she got up and walked out of the room. And that was the last time we touched each other. So, but that was really deep and special. And I'm sure she did. I'm sure she was there for Earl. So.